Hey there, welcome to Tarot Thursday here on a number of different platforms. Actually, we've got, looks like Facebook is coming in, and we also have YouTube coming in. So you could be watching this as a recording later on if you weren't able to make it that night. If you are here, please feel free to drop me a comment so that I know that you're attending. I'd love to be able to chat with you. My name is Pat Dumas. I am the one of the intuitive readers at Firefly Hollow. I do both a tarot class through Firefly Hollow, and I do astrology. We do the astro weather forecast each month. That will be at the end of this month. It's almost always on the last Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. of the month. But on the second Thursdays, like today, we do Tarot Thursday, in which I will draw 4 cards that are kind of like a distillation of the basic theme that's going on for the community for this particular month ahead. Generally, it tends to have the effect of being accurate both on a very individual level, but also on a community level, on a family level, on a global level. There are basic overall themes that really seem to take hold and get presented during these Tarot Thursday presentations. So the way I do this, I draw 4 cards. I have the first card represent the overall theme that we will be facing in the month ahead. The second card represents what is not in our control. In other words, what is it that we really need to let go of in order to be able to have that mental and emotional energy we need to deal with the things that are in our control. So, second card is what's not in our wheelhouse, what is not my job to deal with. And then the third card is what is within our control. What can we very carefully influence? Final card, what should be our next best steps in order to achieve the best possible outcome for the most possible people? Make sense? 4 cards. And as always, what I will be doing at the end of this, I'll take a quick photo and post on my Facebook page what those 4 cards were in case you want to go back and revisit. All right, so let's take a look. The deck that I'm using tonight is a very dear friend of mine. It's something that was given to me last year by a student. It's, excuse me, let me grab it so I name it correctly. It is the Golden Universal Tarot by Robert DeAngelis. So it's a good deck, and it's very much using the excuse me, the Rider-Waite symbology, but with some beautiful additions to it in terms of gilding and in terms of coloration. So let's get started. What does the community need to know? Theme: what is not in our warehouse, what is in our control, and what's our next best steps. All right, so the theme that comes up, interesting. The theme that comes up is the 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords brings to mind, whenever we're looking at swords, we're looking at the concepts of intellect, the concept of communication in some way, shape, or form. The 7, if you notice, has a gentleman sort of walking away, hanging on to those 7 swords. Hey, Margaret, welcome. Good to see you. It's looking at the concept of the lone wolf. The 7 of Swords is that card of feeling like you might need to mentally deal with something completely on your own. And it's probably a fallacy, because none of us can do this on our own. None of us. We have to be able to work with others, and communication is needed. So when I see this card coming up, the 7 is always discussing evaluation in some way, shape, or form. So perhaps we need to think, where am I trying to play the lone wolf? Where am I trying to keep my cards too close to the chest and I'm not sharing sufficiently with the people in my life who can either make my burden a little less heavy or who need to have my input or I need their input, you know? This can be quite a misunderstood card. It's also that card, that concept, I've heard it described lately as intellectual property, making sure that you this is the more positive side of keeping your cards close to your chest. So this could go in a couple of different ways. But I find it interesting, if you note, behind him there are two swords jammed into the ground. That kind of says to me there's logic, there's thought, there's ideas that are rock solid, that everybody adheres to, that they won't take necessarily that much communication and discussion in order to find common ground. I'm not sure. We're going to have to come back and visit that a little bit more. But the overall theme is definitely that of communication that may be either being withheld for a good reason or for ill. All right. So what's not in our power to control? Strength. And I don't think that's ours. I think that's the overall concept of persuasion. Strength is not like the warrior's strength. It's not like the emperor, which talks about hard control, right? This card talks far more about using words, using communication to try to persuade people to your point of view. Now, where can that fall apart? Well, one of the things that we absolutely can't control is what somebody else thinks, whether it's thinking of us or thinking of something else. We can't control their thoughts. We can't control another's opinion. All we can do is offer ours and give, as much support and influence as we can, but let go of the outcome. Because that's actually the final word here. That's what we're dealing with. It's that idea. Let me make sure I'm letting you in here. Edit name. Yeah, you're in. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure you were in, Margaret, that you could hear me. I think it's taking into account that we have to let go of external validation, that we can't govern what somebody else is going to think, that all we can do is our best, speak our truth, do the work we need to do, and let go of the rest. So that's an interesting card to come up as what's not in our wheelhouse. What is in our control are our own dreams, our own hopes, our own aspirations. Now, I'm going to take these three cards together. So the three cards so far. So first we have the question of communication. We have the idea of being able to share in some way, shape, or form our thoughts, our ideas with others. Now, this card sort of indicates there's some kind of reticence involved in that we're either not being forthcoming or perhaps we're literally holding back on a negative kind of level. The two cards that talk about influence, the one that talks about what's not in our control is persuasion, is strength. What is in our control is keeping our greatest aspirations and dreams. So we put these three together, and I think what that's trying to say to us is that if we follow our thoughts, our dreams, our truth, we'll bring people along with us naturally. There will be an ability to influence without making it obvious. How do I put what I'm trying to say? When we have good energy, when we are positive, when we have upbeat kind of energy, we attract others. Others want that same energy to be their own. So they gravitate towards that kind of energy. I have the feeling that what this is trying to tell us is over the next month, there's going to be situations that occur that require us to maintain our own positive vibration, our own positive energy levels. That it's not going to be through beating people over the head with our opinions or trying to demand that they follow our point of view that is going to change anybody else's state. Instead, it's going to be by example and by raising our vibration to bring them along and raise theirs as a consequence. And what I love here, the very last card, the card that talks about what's our next best step, the 10 of Swords. All of the 10s indicate the end of a cycle. They talk about something has to give, something has to change. It's a change over into a new way of utilizing the energy of that suit. In this case, we're talking about the Suit of Swords. Again, just like the first card was. We need a whole new way of communicating, a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of speaking in order to better create the world we want to be in. If we want to raise our vibration and make our lives better, make the lives of our families better, the way to do that is to change the way we think. It's to change from constant complaints to constant gratitude, from never-ending worry and fear to a positive outlook and trying to maintain a sense of today matters. I'm not going to worry about tomorrow till tomorrow gets here. God knows it'll be here fast enough. It's that concept of living in the moment, being present, practicing mindfulness. This is quite the esoteric layout, if you will. The fact that there are 2 majors and 2 swords indicates to me that there's a very strong leaning towards us needing to pay great attention to our own thoughts in order to better improve the world around us. I hope that was helpful, and I would be more than happy to hear from you at a later point in time and see how it works with you over the course of this month. Let me know if changing the way you think, changing the way you interact with other people in terms of the words you choose or the thoughts you permit to come into your mind. See if that makes a difference. I think it was Marcus Aurelius who stated, and I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember the words exactly from Meditations, but the soul is dyed by the thoughts, the color of our thoughts. And that's a pretty heady concept. What we think, we create. So if you want joy, why don't you create that with good thoughts? Wishing you the very, very best. Namaste, y'all. I will get a photograph of this. I'll post it up on my Facebook page. And hopefully the recording of this should be up by tomorrow afternoon on Firefly Hollow's YouTube channel. Good night, everybody. Take care.